Hello everybody, welcome back to another look and playlist of my model trains. Today I received an N scale, or potentially known as the Golden Spike engines, with Central Pacific Jupiter number 60 and Union Pacific number 119. I have had N scale replicas of these engines before, but unfortunately they got a little bit worn out, so luckily I was definitely able to get these two new replacements, and they seem to run very good. So this will be a review of them as they're already out of the box and everything, because considering the fact that this is N scale, I don't want you to see me struggle with how hard it is sometimes to get them out of the box and everything. So we're going to look at these little bit by little bit, and then we're going to do a little bit of run-bys. So here's the Jupiter over here, and I'm really impressed with usually how Bachmann has that silver boiler jacket like that, but rumors have spread all over though that nobody's quite sure if that's correct or not. But other than that, they definitely do have the other colors of the Jupiter correct, where at first everybody thought it was red, so it was painted red, and so was the 119 obviously, but then eventually someone preferred to it as it was being blue and everything with a little bit of red. So I really enjoy how today's model of the Jupiter consists of a little bit of red and blue between the tender and the cab and everything. Even the sand dome is blue, the headlight is blue, and the cow catcher is blue. And the color here of the 119 includes a Russia iron boiler jacket with a black smokestack and a brown headlight, and a brown cow catcher with a brown sand dome and everything, a brown tender with a little bit of red, and a green insert and everything. I think it's supposed to be like that also on the number plates and everything, so you can definitely see I've got them face to face as they were back in May 10th of 1869 with the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, with the Central Pacific building from the west and the Union Pacific building from the east. Chinese immigrants to help out with the Central Pacific building from the west, and Irish immigrants to help the Union Pacific build from the east. And these are precisely the engines that were known to have met up like that in Promontory Point, Utah, to drive a few last spike, two of which were golden spikes. One of them was silver, and then another was a regular cast iron spike. Each one of those four spikes to complete the Transcontinental Railroad from Omaha, Nebraska to Sacramento, California. So this is always a day to remember when you've got these two engines facing together like that. I've also found out that Central Pacific Jupiter was supposed to belong to a train set long ago called the Frontiersman, and the 119 was supposed to belong to a passenger consist called the Prairie Flyer. But I didn't know how to treat those engines back then, and plus they really got worn out, so these are the replacements for them and everything, and I definitely do vow to take much better care of these beautiful engines and everything like that. So in just a few moments we're going to do some run-by tests to see how well they run. I'm doing this on the counter here of my TV set here in my entertainment room and everything, so I don't have a very long stretch of track, as you can see, so we'll be demonstrating using my Easy Command Control Center and everything, so let's get to that part. Okay, so from here, as you can see, I have applied track power, and when running a DC locomotive on a DCC analog controller like that, it is always expected to make such a zappy sound like this, but it won't get hurt or anything like that, and it's not going to destroy the engine inside. Because as you can see on the number 10 button here on my Easy Command Control Center, it says for analog locomotive operation. Although as I was testing this engine now, it's a little bit harder to drive because, hold on a minute, let me get a flashlight on because this is a little bit hard to see. See if I can shine this flashlight. I think that's good enough. So you see that? how there's a little bit of something round right in between the cab and the tender? The basic trick of these little 440 engines is that they're tender driven. So you know how DCC engines are known to have all the sound and everything inside their tenders? Well, so does this engine. So in many other ways, this is a tender driven engine. So we're gonna see what happens when we move it forward. Okay, so far so good here with the Jupiter. And the best part about having DCC with that is that you don't have to make such an oval like that. You could just go just like this and nothing bad happens. But it's not acceptable for DC only. Okay, let's see if we can move it forward one more time. Gonna have to tap on the tender a few times. Well, I think you've seen it in action good enough. Now, what do you say I move to the 119 now? Okay, and now I've got the 119 set up here on the track and everything, so let's see how well she runs. Gonna have to tap on something like that a few times. Bring her back. And it's usually harder to get by then on the re-railer, but that's okay. Well, this will pretty much wrap up the review on my two Golden Spike N scale engines. And I hope I didn't do too bad on trying to get these engines to run. Having two tender engines like this running with a DCC controller like that can be a little bit tricky and everything. But at least you definitely did get to see them in action, and rather than going on a full loop like I would have normally done, we got to see them go back and forth instead. And this is definitely a long track like you would see on most of Bachmann's engines. This came from my DCC on board Acela Express train set. Yes, I do have a train set somewhere of Amtrak's Acela Express, and I'm going to have to see if I can bring a video up of that train running and everything, but overall I'm glad you enjoyed the review no matter what I did. So once again, this is the review on the two 440 American steam engines, the Jupiter and 119, the two steam locomotives that met up in Promontory, Utah, for the driving of a Golden Spike and everything on the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad at the Central Pacific Building from the west and the Union Pacific Building from the east. So, thank you very much for watching, and from the St. Mary's Railroad, we will see you on the rails.